Good morning and welcome to today's live show. Looks like we do have some good news out there. Man, I can hear myself talk right now. I gotta change that setting real quick. I don't want to hear myself talk. Okay, but in these videos over the past couple of days, we've been talking about scenarios 1, 2, and 3. There is still potential for one of those, 2 or 3 scenario to play out. And sorry if there is another live show showing. I'm going to try to delete that right now. I had another problem with YouTube this morning. I was about to be like, uh-oh, now we got to switch over to Rumble. But fortunately for us, we don't need to do that. We got it working, right? I figured out a way to make it work. Let me delete this live stream that never happened forever. Okay, there we go. So yeah, we have the daily expected news. We are wiping those out so people were not expecting any kind of great news or really bad news to come out, which sucked in the implied volatility. And now we're seeing an upside move. Looks like we're going to potentially have a test of the weekly upper side expected move. And we'll see what happens from there, right? We can see little pullbacks, but from these type of areas, it's still possible to flash down here, right? We've seen bad things up in these areas, but it just becomes a lot less probable to even see scenario 2. If we are going to, in some way, see a pullback, well, maybe we would head to these type of levels and then pull back into test that or retest or fill some gaps or something like that. So we'll see. Now we will be on edge, right? We'll be looking for some potentially bad news. We are in a seriously news-driven market. So if we take into consideration we just got good news, well, what always clamps down on good news? Bad news, right? Good news here with the pause. Bad news with Jerome Powell's getting fired, and then bad news again because it doubles down on something else. And it turns out all the bad news was not not true. So we love to see that. But very, very nice to see us outside of the daily expected moves. Means you are getting something unexpected and it is on some news. So we can at least appreciate that it's on some news. I would still like some solidification on the tariff side of things from someone by the end of the week. That would be a very, very good thing if they would come out and say, hey, we are going to even do something like this, right? We are going to even just pause the tariffs or reduce the tariffs with China during this negotiation period. That would be a good sign as well. And that might be why we're seeing some good reversal from Apple and things like that. So we'll be paying attention. But for the time being, it looks like scenario 2 is the option for now. We are seeing that start to see that upside going into today, which is just fantastic to see. Bitcoin, all kinds of things, all kinds of hints. We went over a lot of those hints during the live show over on Rumble, and we went over a lot of those during the live show in the morning on YouTube yesterday. So I don't think we need to go through them all again. Now, one thing that I am noticing is the dollar is overall pulling back, right? Coming up, filling the gap, getting to our 99.41, seeing some kind of pullback. As of right now, we would just think, if the 2 hour rotate down, that wouldn't necessarily be a good thing, but it hasn't rotated down just yet. But it would be closer to that negative territory, so just be paying attention. As of right now, the 4 hour divergence is holding, and we need to see if that wants to go positive. As of right now as well, if the 4 hour, that 2 hour crosses, just be aware the 4 hour could need to make that divergence on the MACD and RSI at the same time. That would kind of be a big deal. So that's the main thing I'm seeing. Volatility really breaking down here. You can see the 2 hour divergence here on the MACD. We can pay attention to it and notice like, hey, that's not the biggest reversal signal in the world though. And we will notice there is a slight divergence on the 30-minute for the RSI. But, if we're going to start some kind of squeeze from these type of areas, we're going to need actually a little bit better news. I would say one of those proposals goes through. And then at the same time here, this is just a reversal signal on the RSI. So we can still see a pop in volatility. We can fill some gaps. We could do what we need to do. But for the time being, things look really, really good, right? You're seeing that move to the daily or outside of the daily expected move for the SPY. You're seeing that as well for the Qs. So it's very, very nice at the moment. And we'll see if this can project higher to go to a weekly expected move, which means that this type of good news, if we do see resistance at that weekly expected move, then that would be just expected by the market at that point. It would be expected, which would mean you need a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. We do see good things across the board. Tesla earnings really surprised me. The fact that this is even able to hold up with how bad these numbers really were. Pretty insane how bad those numbers were. But hey, if it's able to hold during earnings, if you see a bunch of bad news and the stock doesn't sell off and then it ends up going in the upward direction, hey, that can be a good thing. This would be an area for some kind of type of pullback as well for Tesla. Amazon, something to pay attention to for Amazon today is, do we confirm daily divergence? This would be a fantastic signal. As of right now, you do have the 2-hour divergence that is confirmed. So we're seeing if that can head to the upside. And it looks like it's heading to the upside. So we have our weekly expected moves over on Patreon. If you want to join Patreon, it's a great time to join. You're in the last week here. So this is where you get a ton of value up front for it. You'll get those monthly expected moves nice and fresh next week. You'll get the weekly expected moves every single Sunday for all the stocks that we like to cover, including Amazon. So you know right now, Patreon members, where Amazon is at, and it is at a key level. It is just above a key level right now. And you can tell that information from Patreon just by looking at your weekly expected moves. It really can help with any kind of strategy. And then we give daily expected moves on Fridays with some opportunity videos, right? We give a little bit more breakdown. We try to do that during market hours so that you are prepared to potentially react if you want to treat something as an opportunity. If you're seeing it the way I see it, well, I talk about those things every single week. And we actually talked about those things just on Monday, right? We actually put out a video on Monday discussing how we just need to pay attention if that 2-hour rotates up at any time and be aware that these levels can be tagged, right? Fantastic stuff. And we even talked about the hints a little bit earlier over on Patreon during market hours for Meta, for NVIDIA with the 30-minute divergences, right? Meta with the 30-minute divergence down here, able to play out, good things happening. The other ones we were discussing was NVIDIA. Hey, look at that, 30-minute divergence, good things happening. AMD, 30-minute divergence, good things happening. So there's a lot of good things going on at this moment. Some of them did not confirm the divergences, but the ones that did, those are the opportunities to react to, right? We mainly were talking about, hey, patience, but look at this reversal signal, ignore whatever you're hearing in the media. And if that curls up, then you're likely to see a 2-hour push. Good part about these 2-hour pushes are you could solidify them as some kind of higher low for a lot of these stocks. So that's why we put out that video over on Patreon, and that's why you should join. It's just $7. It costs you a cup of coffee. And hey, if you don't think it's very helpful after using it for a couple months, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing to lock you in or anything like that. It's just to really give you guys some information that can be really actually helpful to your trading. It's not some kind of Discord or something, right? Maybe we will do it. Like, people really want a Discord, but I just feel like that just makes me feel dirty doing a Discord or something. Heck's going on over here? Short Fridays, $10. Sold my 27,000 shares of GME yesterday at $27.90, middle of the day. Listened to Elon's earnings call and wowed by him. Best CEO call of all time. Put it all into Tesla stock at 247 average. Hey, not bad. Tesla will be trading above 450 by December this year, I believe. Autonomous is here. He owns the largest lithium refinery, and he is years ahead of any competitor, years ahead. All of those things are pointing towards green, green, green. You are definitely correct. I really like everything that you just stated. And deciding to take it out of something that might be riskier, right? Something that is really, really risky, like say GME, and putting it over into, which, I mean, the risk for GME has gone relatively down. I would say AMC is in a different boat there, but GME, the risk might be higher than something like Tesla that's really proven over time to be a good thing and continue to innovate. So totally understand the decision making. I really do. And I think that's a very, very good way to put it. So congratulations, Short Fridays, on the decision making there. And thank you so much for the $20 in the super chat. Really appreciate that, buddy. That's awesome. Like, I love when people are excited about a decision they're making towards potential investment. Like, I think that's a great thing. So, hell yeah, we should celebrate that. You were like, hey, I like what I hear and I'm going to invest. And I think that's a fantastic thing. Hey, thank you for subscribing. I can't read your name, but thank you for subscribing. It's going to pop up in a second. It is I Like Milk. My boy Short Friday's over there, rolling. Holding $87 TLT calls that expire in June. Hey, that's good because it's a good time for TLT to see some upside. And why were we talking about TLT seeing some upside just a little bit ago? Well, the 30-minute divergence here that led to a little pop. This dropped down, going down to lower levels, and we were suggesting to pay attention to TLT from this point. Yeah, we can make a triple divergence. Watch out for lower high. The reason we were talking about it, even if you saw in the video last night, you know, we were really like, this would be a great place for a lower high for the 10-year. So if you're able to make that decision just a little bit ago, maybe using the 30-minute divergence over 4 TLT, hey, I think you made a good decision, right? Now maybe you made that decision, saw it come up to resistance, sold that bad boy as it rolled over, saw it go negative, and then you were like, okay, that 2 hour needs to confirm back up. And this would be that 2 hour confirmation. This means that the daily chart can cross here, which means TLT can start to make a comeback, which is just, it's a great thing. It's a really, really good thing. Now, TLT, we can read into this going above April 16th. The SPY not able to go above April 16th just yet. Oh, wait, there was April 16th. I'm at the high back in here, right? Oops. So we'll see what happens. I like it though. Oh yeah, and gold. Remember, everyone's saying gold, gold, gold. And I was like, gold's probably going to top this week. And we're seeing a top. Now, if you look at this daily chart for gold, actually, let's look at futures. Look at futures for this. If you really look at the futures for gold, just because we'll go into those shorter time frames, the reason that I was saying this is, one, you have daily divergence on the RSI. Now, is this over for gold? Potentially not, right? I would say if it holds up before it gets down to, say, like 2976, then that would be a good thing, right? If this is just going to retest a key level, like say around that 3200 and then just whip back up, that's great. But as you have daily RSI divergence, it's very likely to come down to these areas. So I think what you're going to end up seeing here is most likely some kind of right shoulder. And I'm charging my mouse right now. I forgot to charge it and I left it on last night. So, but for the time being, the reason we were just saying these things was like, okay, these things are getting really, really cooked, really, really cooked. 2 hour finally showing divergence. So you're at least experiencing a 4 hour pullback. And that's how I would treat it for the time being, because the daily chart hasn't crossed. So the 4 hour could still just turn back up into positive territory. So don't sleep on the fact that, this thing can turn back up. It's still positive. But right now, this is great. If you can confirm down on the daily, I think you're really looking in these areas. And it's kind of like, if we can hold up here and fool around for a bit, great. If we drop all the way down to, like, I would say 2970, then that's going to be a big problem. But that can be a pretty solid support, right? Resistance broke through, became support. So if you start to lose that, I'd be a little bit more worried losing this block in here, which I think comes higher potential once you hit these levels, get a right shoulder in some way. NVIDIA as well. Yeah, NVIDIA is just doing what NVIDIA did, right? The opportunity was the 30-minute divergence that we've had drawn up for a few days. We just left it on there to show. We've been talking about this and saying, hey, the 30-minute here, this is what you see before a 2 hour curls up. Well, if the 2 hour curls up, what is this? It's a higher low. What is a higher low? A higher low is a reversal signal, just like a divergence. So it's a great thing. And now I think NVIDIA has the opportunity to flip daily momentum back to the upside. And maybe if we don't get any bad news, right? We need to understand that we don't want to get bad news now. And bad news could be as simple as the proposals didn't go through. People are thinking proposals, they're going to go through. These proposals, these negotiations, now they don't want, the administration does not want this because of midterms, but these proposals that lead into negotiations, that lead into a resolution, the resolution with just like getting proposals is not quick. It's normally not a quick thing. Now, we could see a few resolutions soon, which would be a good thing for markets, right? If it's with the right people, say like China and things like that. But I think you're more so looking for, hey, we're going to pause on China. We're going to pause with China for the 90-day window. That way we can do some good negotiation over the next few months. I think that would be more the good news that you're actually looking for. The bad news that could come is they just told everyone there's all these proposals and then nothing happens, right? They're just like, no, we can't come to terms. And that would be bad, because then it's like, okay, China still, nothing's really changed too much, just the pause, which the pause should hold us up higher. The thing that kind of shook us up after that pause was Jerome Powell potentially getting fired, right? And it was like, apparently just like totally made up in at least in Trump's mind. So we'll see how these things continue. Semiconductors across the board were showing that 30-minute divergence, at least most of them that I was looking at, right? AMD, NVIDIA, I believe SMH had it too. SMH had it, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. 30-minute divergence there for SMH. Kind of flat on that one, but all of them are able to turn up 2 hour charts. Now you just need to see this thing get a boom. This thing needs to boom, right? All these things, if you just want to take into consideration just the SPY, so we get back over to that, you need to see a boom. You need to get to 566 and you need to get to 577, 576 actually. So it's great stuff. This is good stuff like across the board. This means that we are much so less likely to revisit down in these areas now. We are much more likely to see little pullbacks and continue to move to the upside. Elon seemed to hint at the call also that tariffs were about to be worked out, but he declined to answer directly to that person's question. Do you have Twitch or only YouTube? Only YouTube. No. I've been on Twitch before. That's where I used to stream for my comedy channel back when I was young, you know. And I had a lot of people over there. I did a lot of stuff. I did a lot of funds for cancer research and things like that. A lot of good donations coming in for cancer funds, cancer research. It was a lot of fun. But Twitch just it's a different ball game. It's just not a platform that I truly enjoy, and so I like YouTube better. Great work. Can you show resistance for SMCI? Yeah, we can go look at SMCI. Everything should be pretty obvious, right? Things should be pretty obvious. And once again, you're going to see obvious, right? Now, you might look at this and not see obvious, and that's where maybe you need to advance that learning a little bit. And I'm not suggesting that's you, right? I'm not saying that's you, but someone out there who's maybe asking the same question in their head, just scared to type it and stuff like that. Hey, it's perfectly fine to come in and type any kind of question. Ask questions. It's very, very fine because this can look a lot of like sloppy. But if you just simplify it for yourself, you would say, okay, this is what a 2 hour trying to be a higher low. What do we need to take out? Well, we obviously need to take out these levels in here. And you kind of have a block, but I would say this 35, let's do 35.50. Let's round it up a little bit and just say 35.50. If you can fully take out and hold 35.50, that would be a great thing, right? That would be a great thing if you can hold that, because then you're starting to see daily momentum most likely kick in, and you have actual daily divergence here for SMCI. That means if daily momentum does take over, you could see a surge all the way up to, I'm going to say 42.50, right? And we can mark that off and say 42.50. All right, 42.50 going to be a key level, right? So then we have two levels to pay attention to. And for that daily move, if you would get a squeeze, 42.50 is where I think we would back off, right? I think we would start to consolidate in some way. But we can easily see how 35.50 is very important, right? We had that level for support, right? We've used it kind of as resistance before. We tried to use it as support here, turned it right into resistance and resistance again. We see gaps, we see support, a little wick down to that area. We see a gap down below it over here. So we know 35.50 is a key thing to get through. And we're not through that yet. So you really don't want to be talking about 42.50 until you get through 35.50. And that's just how it goes. But a nice 7.39% move to start off the day. And if you're able to take back this 9, you're confirming daily divergence, which means that this could be a potentially good investment for a little bit of time here, right? The weekly chart can curl up, and as long as you don't see any reversal signals in here, this could go on for weeks and weeks and weeks to the upside. That's what daily divergence does, right? You go look at a weekly chart and you see a big boom. Well, you probably saw a daily divergence beneath it if you were going through some troublesome time. So this is very good. I think those are the two levels that I'd really be paying attention to. If you blow past that, hey, awesome. That's fantastic. Like, that's great. But for the time being, if I'm taking a month trade or something like that, I'm really thinking 25% is pretty damn good, right? Like 32 to 42, pretty damn good, like a 10-point move for SMCI. So don't try to get too greedy in this, right? If we continue to squeeze, the biggest thing with this is going to be very careful shorting unless we're seeing things up in these areas. We haven't broken through, right? But it's more in these areas. Just we want to be cautious shorting things when we're squeezing. And at the same time, we don't want to be too greedy, right? I like to take profit on the way up. So if we hit that weekly expected move, that will be my first point to take a little bit of profit. Now, that will be a little bit of profit. Then the move up, any kind of move up past that, I might be convinced to take a little more. And by the time we're at 576, or if we can even get to 576, I'll potentially be out of almost all my profit. And if we continue to squeeze, that's fine with me. I'm not going to short anything if it's short squeezing. Oh, of course, Eric. Thank you. When it comes to Treasury, who's buying? Is it China and Japan or the Feds? No idea. I would say that there is some M2 money supply increasing, but no idea. You think we might close the gap this morning or straight short squeeze towards 560? Well, considering that this drop was relatively on some I would say fake news, right? I mean, think of what the media has fed you for a long time. This boom was out of nowhere. And I think rich people were pissed because, or hedge funds, big people, Wall Street was pissed because they were like, "Oh, he just said that, and we didn't see it coming, so we lost money." So what do? They create fake stories. Oh, Jerome Powell's getting fired. Oh, China is really retaliating on everything, and they're awful. When now we're just finding out, oh, Trump's been talking to China on the phone for a little bit. They're going to come to the table and they're going to potentially even see a deal with China. They say soon, but soon for a tariff deal, I mean, soon for a tariff deal is like a year. So sooner for a tariff deal would be like 6 months. So absolutely the craziest amount of soonness because if you heard when she talked about the proposals, they're trying to move at Trump's speed. That means Trump wants things happening now, which is good, but it still could take some time. So I think paying attention to China and a proposal going through right away is probably silly. What you're more so looking for is probably some kind of reduction on the tariff to China, some kind of pause with China would be better, and maybe a deal with India, a deal with, I mean, I'm sure EU will take some time, but what was the other one? Someone's got to remind me real quick. My brain's blipping right now. India, Japan. Just join any GMET today. The GMET is just everything else is seeing some very good price action, and GME and AMC they're just not. They're really not. But it still looks good, right? Daily crossed up in positive territory. Recipe for success. Hey, what about this level, right? If anything, join the Patreon right now if you're trading GME because you need these levels for GME. GME alone is worth the $7 to have the levels for. Just to be honest with you, GME is going to be one that a lot of people think are going to see something crazy all the time, and all it does is run into a monthly expected move or a weekly expected move and fall. If you want examples of that, you don't have to look far. I think my mouse is good by now. You don't have to look far at all. Do you know why? Because, well, this right here was a weekly expected move. I believe this is the updated one, by the way, but you had a weekly expected move at this time in that area. And we were putting up that skeptical guy in our video. Everyone thought that it was going to squeeze. And we said, well, you might want to be this guy and say, hey, taking profit here is always a good idea. What's the other one? Well, this one here was at a monthly expected move, I believe, back in January. If I'm not mistaken, let me make sure. Yeah, I believe that was a monthly expected move back in January. I believe a weekly expected move was above it. But we noticed some things here. If you look on the daily scale, you have daily divergence and boom to the downside. So right as all those dumbass people who are just, telling you it's going to go up at any moment all the time. Well, you can pay attention to momentum and actually be smart about it and be like, hey, this daily divergence confirmed. That's the opposite of what you want to see for a squeeze to the upside. If anything, you're going to get squeezed to the downside, boom to the downside, right? Now, I'm not a big fan of shorting things like GME personally, because I think it could pop off kind of anytime, but I think momentum will tell you when it's going to turn up. So what's the recipe right now? Well, you have the daily curled up in positive territory. You have a very key level right here you need to be watching for, because if this 2 hour ends up just rotating down, that's a reversal signal and the daily can cross, and that's the more probable scenario. So what you're looking for if you're trying to catch a squeeze is, does everything remain good? Do I have a daily positive? Do I have a, yes, you do. You have a daily curled up in positive territory. Do I have a 2 hour curled up in positive territory? Yes. Do I have a 30-minute crossed up into positive territory? Yes. So you have the recipe for success. You're outside of a crazy level, so you could see something crazy, but I'd be paying attention to if you're thinking something crazy is going to happen, and then you just confirm a divergence down, because if you're going to see something crazy, you're most likely going to see that divergence either just never confirm or confirm and then turn right back up on a 30-minute, right? So even if that 2 hour confirms, if the 30-minute would cross here and then just cross back up, that's what you're looking for, right? That's the management of the trade. If you need some help on managing trades, if you're finding yourself holding trades for too long, something's failing and you're hoping that it comes back, and then the next day you're hoping that it comes back, and then you're down, 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 down. We teach people how to manage risk in their trade, like manage the trade physically with like signals. And we tell you exactly how I like to do it in the course down in the description. 80% off right now. If you want to get that section alone is worth the price of the course. I can tell you that right now. If you get good at managing risk, managing your trade, reacting when something is going wrong, you will, like, that's pretty much probably 3 times the amount of value learning that than what the course is actually worth right now with that discount. So just be aware of it. It's there if you want to learn, but GME reversal signals, it moves just like every other stock. You can call it manipulation, but there are moves happening. Do you think this could be a rug pull if Wall Street was caught off guard because all of a sudden a bunch of negativity on Mag 7 being put out? I mean, you're talking about Meta. Like, yeah, that's fine. It is what it is. What I would more so just say is the 2-hour divergence confirmed. If the 30-minute goes negative, then I would be out. If it's not going negative at this point, I'm holding on to that bad boy because the daily is going to curl up most likely, and you have divergence down there. What you're probably seeing and what probably was going to happen, I think that this situation was what Wall Street wanted. I think they wanted this. I think they wanted scenario 3 or maybe just scenario 2, right? Because these were fake stories. These were pretty much fake stories. Like they were turbulence for no reason, right? So this is all due to media, which tells me, hey, who are they in bed with? Okay, so Wall Street probably wanted this down here, but then we get some decent news, right? We get some decent news out there during the day. And so we see this go up. And I think they wanted deeper prices. So what they're going to do now is probably convince you to short things, short things, short things until your account's at 0. That's the most likely thing that they would like to do with this type of look. This look can fail, but for the time being, it's just like, what do I pay attention to if it's failing? Well, if this is a 2-hour cross up, what can I do? Well, I can go into an hourly chart, right? If I want to be a little loose, like a little bit more loose with it. And I can say, hey, if the hourly chart curls down, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, that's a bad thing. It's still negative. So if the hourly chart fades this whole move and then curls down, then I would say, oh, well, I don't necessarily want to be in longs anymore. Yeah. Because you haven't, the reason that, and what Nick is maybe saying is something to think about is you're still not through this, right? We're still not through that. So there's always the opportunity for another trap, right? I think he's fine to bring that up. But as long as that's the thing though. That's why when you take a trade, you have the plan for if it goes wrong. Well, has your plan updated? What is going wrong for you right now? You know, has your plan for if it's going wrong actually confirmed, you know? Trying to think here. I gotta go look at my stuff real quick, but hopefully you guys are enjoying this open so far for the day. Looks pretty juicy for now. We're gonna have 30-minute charts that are just overbought immediately. Just so you're aware, you're gonna have 30-minute charts that are overbought. If the positivity can continue, I wanted to show you guys one of the last squeezes we caught was down in here. And I wanted to show you guys the 30-minute chart. The 30-minute chart, you notice, went up to these areas. We actually did get overbought right around here, right? We got overbought and we stayed overbought for a long, long time, okay? So if we're gonna squeeze, it's pretty much gonna be like, hey, the 30-minute can stay overbought and the 30-minute probably won't cross over like right away. So if it crosses down just right away, that would be more of a worrisome sign. There's, you know, we're going to talk about risk, but I don't want you to get it twisted. This is a very good thing. The daily chart just curled back up. You just took back all these moving averages. Like this is overall saying I'm a higher low, and it's confirmed as a higher low. So this isn't a bad thing. This is a good thing. You can always get one of those, oh, they randomly give bad news, and this is probably the area they would do that. But I just want you to pay attention to the structure of the chart and tell me that, like, from this area right now, doing this is very, very like likely. That would have to be a no for me. We can see pullbacks and things like that if something goes wrong. I think that whatever you're seeing in the media, I would more so pay attention to if things are going okay in the chart. You brought up Meta, right? Well, Meta just curled up a 2-hour chart and is seeing some great upside. It just crossed through that center line. It's not even overbought. The 30-minute is overbought, and we could hold sideways. We could tap back into the zone, right? You break out of a zone, we could tap back into it. We could go fill gap. But my question is, do you see it doing this? Right? Do you see it doing this anymore? And the answer to that is simply no at this point. We would need to see some crazier price action than this to see it. Right now, this being taken out, very, very low probability for Meta. Even with whatever bad news you see, it's just with this look. And for this to be probable, you at least have to have the 30-minute cross down, right? This looks fantastic. And so, and I'm in Meta. I'm in Amazon, right? I'm in these, right? I know that this is the key level for Amazon as well. This is where pullbacks can happen. This is where a big drop to fill the gap can happen. But I'm not going to convince myself that that is what is happening right now, right? Because it's not happening right now. If things change, right? Maybe the 5-minute just crosses down and you see 5-minute something here. I don't know. But for the time being, this is just everything we pay attention to. The 2 hours crossed up, giving us the higher low. So the very likely thing is do whatever the hell you want down in here, but you're going to end up towards 566, potentially in the next, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks. The other thing is, if you're going to say there's some kind of trap up here and then we're going to fall down again, that means by the end of the month, what are we going to be? We're going to be below this? No, it's more likely. It's actually more likely that we end to the middle to the high in this month, right in here. It's actually more likely we end the month in here, I think. You know, that's just my thinking, though. But I already have trades placed, so you could say I'm biased at this point. Do it. Call me biased. Think I care. But yeah, overall, it's like A, B, C. I mean, if you're lucky, right? If we get lucky and it's really good news, then you could see that. That would be insane. And you know what would happen from right here? You'd most likely get a pullback. And then it would be a mean pullback. It would be a bigger drop. The reason that I think the next move will extend us up high pretty well is because the next drop is going to be all the bears again. And that's the truth of it. You're below the 200. This is something very obvious that I'm sure a lot of people have pointed out to you already. I hate that the fact that maybe I'm repeating it, but I'm sure a lot of people have pointed this out, or at least maybe you did to yourself. We're below the 200. So you know what people are going to say? This is going to go up maybe even past that 200 for a minute. Okay, reject off of it or go past it to get the bulls nice and happy. Then we're going to see that rigorous drop, right? Think of the mentality. People get euphoric at the high. Bears say, oh, nope, we were right. This is crashing. We're below the 200. Ha, ha, ha. And then it just curls back up because that's the right shoulder that could have been, right? If we think of the mentality going forward, that's how I see it playing out. It can do whatever the hell it wants to over the next few days down in here. I don't care. As long as in the next 3 weeks it ends up towards like 566, I'm pretty happy, right? Good things, good things, good things. Let's see if we use the daily expected move as some support. Could this be the rebound? This is a higher low. A higher low is just as good of a reversal signal as a divergence. So yeah, this is saying I am going to try to be the bottom right now. That's what it's saying. It can do whatever in the in-between. But as long as this 2 hour remains curled up here, I mean, there's no shot of going to lower levels if this 2 hour is curled up. Now, I say that and you're like, oh, that means no shot in going to lower levels in here. No, you can literally fill this gap and not curl down a 2 hour and just see it go right back up. A big thing is going to be 30-minute charts. 30-minute charts are going very positive, correct? Right? That's getting more and more positive. So the more positive we are, the more likely it is to just pull back. After NVAX pops, AMC and GME will follow. Not financial advice. Why is that, Doug TV? Is NVAX related in some way? I'll go look at it. I think we've looked at this before. Yeah, Novax. Yeah, that's a good pop. 20%. That's what I'm saying. I think it's weird that GME is like barely up. AMC just like not even really up there. Fractals, brother, let's go. Fractals. Charts are up to date. Charts look frozen. Charts are going. Not financial advice. Hey, dude, you don't have. Nobody's taking financial advice for If someone is taking financial advice from someone typing in a chat on YouTube, yeah, I would say they probably don't even have a lawyer to come after you. Lotto Stocks has entered the chat. Maybe. Hey, I pray for the guy. He makes some crazy, crazy ideas. All right, this is the potential first take profit. For Meta and potentially Amazon. Yeah, I'm not too. I think this will. Alrighty. All right. So to keep you updated, so what did I decide to do? I decided to take out the Meta play. Meta was not able to install resistance off of the weekly expected move. And I don't want a ton of exposure, right? I want to be able to take profit. So that's good profit to be had there. Take some profit on Meta. So I took the full position on Meta. That way I could leave the rest of the position on Amazon. Trump slashing tariffs on China. What a puss. What? How's what? I didn't see anything about that. I don't. That's not reported anywhere. So took half my calls off Apple, made them free. Now watch it skyrocket. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's fine. As long as you're feeling good in the trade now, so you can't really complain. I'm looking all over my stuff. Looking everywhere. Probably not a bad decision. I don't see anything about Trump slashing the tariffs on China. I hope he does. It would not be a puss move. I think it would be a very good move for him to pause or cut the tariffs completely on China right now while they're in a negotiation period. They're both saying, "Hey, okay, we get it. Let's both lower all of our stuff. Let's stop tariffing each other for the next, 60 to 90 days, and then we'll figure out, a good process because China's the one that should take some more time." Perfect. That's exactly what we want to see. Yeah, looks decent. These are the areas where we can still pull back. I wouldn't say that gap fill would be absolutely absurd. I think Amazon's doing really good things now, but that's a big ass gap too. That's a big ass gap. It just shows he's weak. How? I don't get it. I think you have a bias against a human being for probably little to no reason because it probably doesn't affect you as much as you think. But that's fine. You be that way. You do you, baby boo. Yeah. It's fine. Let people say what they want to say. I just like when good things happen and markets go up, and when people are doing smart things in a deal. It's probably not very smart to when you're trying to make a deal between two powerful countries to be trying to shit all over each other. It's better to just calm everything down, right? For your economies, it's much better to calm everything down. So it's actually a very good thing for you, and you should say thank you and perk up and give his ass a little kiss. Like this channel's about technicals too. Like I don't care how you feel about any political person, really don't. I just really don't, because you're Not showing yourself as a good analyst. Qs look pretty good here. Looks like 452 getting blown out. I wonder what the key level is for the downside for the Qs real quick here. Let's see if we can find another key level for today. Yeah, we blew past 450. So 450 would be a good place to go down to. 440 being a key level as well. So 450, if we can hold above 450 today, that would be fantastic. Let's look into the Friday. Yeah, holding above 450 would be great for Friday as well. It means you could extend to, well, where you're at right now, 460, which means 465 is the next key level. We'll see. It's funny because big moves like to happen on Mondays, and I wonder if Wall Street's going to stick to that these days. We'll find out. He's zoo animals talking. Listen for the road. What's up, Bernie? How you doing? Yeah, once again, Brian and Nick, that's just bad analysis. I love tariffs too. You know what I would love for tariffs? If all of them were at zero. I love tariffs. I would love for all of them to be at zero. Like, what's the? I don't get it. So if I did that, if I did zero everywhere, would that be a bad thing? It'd be good for your people. Like Queen Woods, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate you being here. Tariffs are a good thing because they cause other people to react with theirs, and if they go to zero, that's a good thing. Great thing. UNH. A lot of people bringing up UNH. What the hell's happening over there? Oh my word. Jesus. Oh God. Hey, you do you, baby boo. I'd say investment wise, maybe not investment wise. That looks garbage right now. That is not pretty. Nope, not touching that. You do what you want to do with that one. I can't be too helpful with that one. That's going to be all your decision making because I wouldn't even look at that right now. But I don't like to invest in those type of companies too. So if you're looking at, if you like it and you invest in it, then you're like, hey, it's cheap as hell. Wolfie boy. Oh, Wolfie boy is seeing some good stuff. Ooh, daily chart. But you don't have, you don't have the best reversal here, but that's good for Wolfie boy. Bitcoin, how we doing? Holding above that 91.8K. Very, very nice. We'd like to see it. Rumble's getting going. Rumble, you're kind of wild here. Why are you looking so interesting? I mean, we're on Rumble, but that's pretty crazy. Mag's looking all right. Daily scale turned up. Yeah, turn back up. That's good. All right, looks good. Things look great. Meta still going. Amazon still going. Very, very nice. DJT. Ooh. Not the best look for DJT on the 30. 2-hour pullback can come. Oh. Okay, I'm going to click through my other charts real quick and just see if we're getting anything worrisome because we are in that worrisome area. Actually, wait a second. Hold on. Oh, if this pulls back, you say thank you. If this pulls back, you say thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Yeah. If that pulls back, I'm going to be a happy little boy. I think that's the most you're going to get, though. I think this becomes way less likely now. Unless we fade that in the next like hour or so. I think maybe we trickle here for a little bit today. Maybe we fool around, go down, up, down, up. We curl down. This would be very nice. That'd be crazy. I would love to see that. I'm scared. I'm scared. Data. Data scary. Data are scary. Let me go check. Oh, wow. Okay. Damn. Positive flash PMI, 51.2, supposed to be 51, 50.7, supposed to be 49.5-ish. And then global services or manufacturing at 50.7, global services 51.4, supposed to be 52. So a little lower on the services there, but not bad. Pretty good. We'll see the reaction. Ooh. Good news, good news, good news. Okay, let me look through my other charts for you guys real quick. Very, very nice from Amazon. Oh my goodness. Looking good in the neighborhood. We would be lucky to see that go down and fill that gap. That would be a nice, nice move to be able to reapply some money. I would love for that to happen for Amazon. I don't think it's most likely. But when you look at Amazon, the reason I'm paying attention so closely to Amazon, one, because I have it, but two, because this is a very key level, right? I'm going to ignore this and take the gap into consideration and just say this and look at this. If we curled down and we wanted to go fill that gap real quick, well, one, if we stop short, left head, right shoulder, you could dip down a little further, fill that gap for a second. So, and that's down a little bit lower, but I really like that 174.51. That will be a great area to look for. Potential reversals to happen. SPY for the time being, though, heading to that weekly expected move, right? This is where interesting things happen. Volatility is still above 20, just so you are aware. Volatility as of yesterday, not down 10%, not down 10%. So that is very, very good. Things look great. Love it. Looks nice. I dig it. Would NVIDIA pull back too? Let's see. Actually, let me go look at NVIDIA's key level here. NVIDIA doesn't have to, but NVIDIA is not seeing anything like terribly surprising. NVIDIA is really not doing a lot of work here. I would say this about NVIDIA. Like all these things make sense to pull back, but don't ignore the fact that nothing's pulling back yet, right? Don't ignore the fact that squeeze potential is here. The 2 hour is still great, right? The 2 hours just crossed the center line. These are all good things. Something that could be bad is if the 30-minute would rotate down. It hasn't seen that big positivity, that continued positivity. All you have to do is hold sideways, and this MACD is going to keep going up, by the way. So all you have to do is hold sideways like this, and the MACD is going to keep trickling into the upside. So what we're aware of here is it's hitting something key. It's hitting right in these two highs right there, right? The gap open there and the high from back here. So we know there's resistance probably right in this area. So something good would be anywhere in there. We actually see that pull down for a moment. Maybe we do actually fill the gap, right? Those things can happen. But if things are curled up and looking good, I'm not necessarily reacting too much to those type of things unless I see something really go wrong, right? This is an area to make decisions. We talked about it the same down here, right? For this trade, this is the same thing. This is where I like to make decisions. You just heard me take profit on Meta. Awesome. If Meta continues to go up, am I going to be sad? No, I don't give a shit. It's good money. But the SPY for now is telling me, hey, this is a decision-making area, and that's fantastic. So I can leave everything in Amazon and say, hey, if it's going to go, go. But if it's going to pull back, then I want to make sure to take some profit, and that's why I'm taking it on Meta. Why am I not taking it on Amazon, but I'm taking it on Meta? Well, I'm not taking it on Amazon because Amazon's the one with the clear daily divergence. So if daily momentum just takes over dramatically here, boom to the upside, I'm down. Let's go. Right? Amazon has a bigger reversal signal on a bigger time frame than Meta. That's how I see it. Now, Meta has it, but it's on the RSI, not the MACD at the same time. I like it to be on the MACD at the same time. So this is just pure preference in how I like to trade. So just wanted to give you a little insight of my thinking here. Oh, I would love for things to reload, though. Gosh, if things would reload, that'd be awesome. Okay, Tesla's starting to fade the move. That's good because their earnings were absolute garbage. But I'm glad that Elon is talking about the innovation. I think it's a good thing. I'm not saying Tesla's bad. I just said the earnings was garbage. Yeah, it really was. It was super bad. It was like the worst earnings in a long time. I think you could go back to like what 2019 or something, maybe 2020. I don't know. So a pullback here would still be a good thing. Yields. Interesting with TLT. Yeah, I'm not a little bit under the weather today. If you notice, I'm a little bit dreary and just like, come on. Like, let's not say stupid things today. Just ask good questions and we're good. There's no such thing as a stupid thing if we're talking about charts. If you start talking about tariff deals like you're a world leader, I'm just going to be like, dude, just stop. Because even I talk about it and I'm like, even I feel dumb talking about it. Yeah, my UVXY on Monday and rebought yesterday in case we headed back to the. Well, I don't think that hedging here was a bad idea, right? Hedging here, wouldn't say that's like a bad thing. Now, I would say take into consideration that the 2 hour was curled up, and if you looked at futures, it was a good confirmation on the 4, so you could take that into your thinking. But hedging here with a small amount, not a bad thing. I did it, right? I did it, and I've lost the whole position, right? Pretty much. I'm not saying it's like, oh, I was trying to make money off of it. Really, I was like, oh, I always like when my hedges make money, and then it turns back around, and I get to apply some more money into a trade. Like that's great. But in this case, I was very much so leaning towards upside. I wanted scenario one to play out, and scenario one is playing out. But we need to see a boom past these levels, right? The key thing about scenario one was, do you get through this and do you hold above this? And you're not seeing that as of right now. We're seeing a lot of calls come in and things like that. So we'll see. With more time and some more price action, we'll have all the answers. Nvidia starting to drop off a little bit here, fading the overall move. Let's see. We don't see any real weakness on the shorter time frames, by the way. We do not see like 5 minute anything. Volatility is still above 20, so a 5 minute pullback can be pretty significant. A 5 minute pullback can be like what? This right here is 1%. If we go down to retest the monthly again, that's 2%. So that still is a solid amount there. What if it's a bloodbath today? I mean, it's the opposite of a bloodbath right now. Are you seeing inclinations of a bloodbath? Are we seeing volatility turn back up? Because it can. Look at the divergence right there. It can. We can see a 2 hour push from here. We could see a pull down. This is the area to pay attention. We need to hold this level. So this is where, if you want to call it a bloodbath, I just know you're a day trader, so we don't consider bloodbaths the same, right? I would say the bloodbath is what we've experienced already when we made triple divergence and confirmed it here. Then there was high potential for a bloodbath, and we saw a bloodbath. And we failed the reversal signal here, which was more a bloodbath type of moment, right? This is more bloodbath. This is just going to be like, okay, we might fill the gap. We might see a 30-minute pullback, right? We're going to a key level. We kind of drew this out already. Boom, right here. Pay attention to right here. Okay, awesome. We go left, head, come down, maybe even get a wick all the way down to here, right shoulder. I would love for that to happen, personally. But everyone is not in calls. Most people are in puts. Probably still to this point, people are still in puts. It's just those shorter time frame. Day traders really dictate this market. Until we see a big shift, day traders will be in a lot of control. So if bears are here, we could potentially see a pullback because we didn't exceed the level. If we can exceed the level and hold above it, then those bears will give up and possibly even become bulls. And that's kind of how the short squeeze starts, right? They stop holding on to those short positions and buy in. And then it's the people who are the latest to buy into that move once they notice it are the people who lose the most amount of money. So, but we're not through that yet. We are not through that confidently right now. But you do see across the board a lot of things getting out of their weekly expected moves, which would mean a 68%. So, as of no bias to anything, nothing going on, we're not paying attention to news, we're not taking into consider anything else, just the price action and our probabilities. That would say we have a 68% chance for a pullback going into Friday. And then you go, okay, we have a 68% chance for a pullback, and VIX is overall saying, I do have this RSI divergence. Now, what happens in a squeeze? You make those divergences, and the divergences just fail dramatically over and over and over. HGX is love and life. That's a very good thing. We were talking about this yesterday during the live show. Fantastic. The SPY has overall almost caught up. Yeah, this is where fades happen. Stockfather. Nvidia can't even. I love that, Noah. Thank you for that. Thank you for that news update. I exited everything this morning. Thank you, Lucas, for the directions. I love your evening videos. The best preparation. Hey, that's fantastic. You just get a little bit more, right? And then hopefully the Patreon video helped you out a little bit, Jonna. So you were just aware of this a little bit earlier. And then those YouTube videos for you, because you're a Patreon member, is just to kind of remind you of those things and update how it's going, which is nice. And then people saying, we'll see if this thing's able to fade down and things like that. But as of right now, it's just more so, do we see this actually curl down? The news that just came out was Nvidia can't even maintain its hard on. It needs him. So I was just kidding about that, Stockfather. Now I'm looking for the new entries. Yeah, and then, I do want to remind everyone that these are daily momentum can just take over. We could see a squeeze. It'll be interesting to see, right? It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But this is kind of like, hey, the bigger time frames are saying we could do this, right? The bigger time frames are saying we could do this, while the shorter time frame being the 30-minute is saying, hey, we could really do this, like do something like this. Right? So bigger time frames are pointing to here, smaller time frames are pointing to here. But it all runs on that stipulation of, are we breaking through what we need to break through to get to here? And as of right now, you stopped on a dime right at it, right? We stopped right there. So potentially, you're talking about new entry. Well, that would be if you sold everything, then a new entry would be you really want that to pull back. This wouldn't. I'm not going to short this because hey, the bigger time frames are saying we could do this. I'm not going to short this. Maybe a hedge if you want to hold on to positions, right? This is hedging decisions can be. This is the decision making area, right? This is where you have to, talk to yourself and make those decisions. Hopefully, you already had that prepared in case this happened. But if you want, re-entry, say you already sold everything, that was the decision you made. Perfectly fine decision, by the way, Jonna. I just want to mention that. It's perfectly fine decision to make to say, I like the money. This is good. This trade maybe stressed me out and I have something that convinces me to take profit. That's never going to be a bad thing. It's just now you want to practice patience, right? If you miss out and this gaps up again and gaps up again and goes up to here, are you going to say up here like, yeah, oh shoot, I missed the move, I want to get in, right? This is where patience is going to be key for you, I think, Jonna. So thank you for bringing up your situation because it's a lot of fun to talk about right now. It's very good for people to hear. Because this, if you take profit and you're looking for re-entry, what are you hoping for? You're hoping that this happens. You're hoping that this is the structure that we need to create in order to go higher. As volatility is still above 20, this is what we would really be looking for. I do want to look at VIX again. I feel like there was something I was missing here. Up by 10%. SPY had the chance for a down day, or for an up day. So VIX had a chance for a down day. We get the down day, it's not up by 10%. So we don't have any of those little hints going on. And look at that, it's starting to fail to move. But we're still not seeing that positivity fully click in yet. So yeah, all I'm looking for now, like if I was someone who took complete profit here, all I would be looking for is any kind of pull. Now that could literally just go like this. And you're just looking for that. And then you go, oh, we're getting closer to Friday, so we don't have a lot of time. This could be something crazy. Is there news behind it? Boom. Then you go, okay, awesome. And a lot of the time it'll be, I'm going to take it, and then boom to the upside. And then you go, okay, you see this go sporadic all of a sudden, then you see news came out, right? If you don't see news come out, you're paying attention to if your trade goes wrong, right? You have the plan for if the trade goes wrong. Very, very nice. Thank you for sharing, Jonna. Appreciate you. Everyone's tired of downside. I don't know. I think now you're going to see people with the sentiment of like, if we get that squeeze-like sentiment, then you're going to see a lot of people begging for downside, actually. When is this going to stop? When is this going to stop? When is this going to stop? When's the top? When's the next pullback? When's the top? When's the top? When's the top? I'm going to get all kinds of questions like that. And of course, on this day, I wake up a little bit under the weather. NVIDIA's struggle busing right now. Not too bad, though. Pretty controlled on the 5-minute. What data? Does data come out tomorrow? I believe like initial jobless claims, maybe. Yeah, initial jobless claims tomorrow. Durable goods orders. Supposed to go up. Initial jobless claims. Supposed to go up. Existing home sales is supposed to come down. And then next Tuesday, JOLTS job openings. Ooh, scary. Scary. And then next Wednesday, core PCE and GDP growth rate. Oh, God. GDP growth rate is supposed to go down to minus 1.2. So if I had a guess of where we're going to start a mean pullback, probably be on that GDP if it comes out super negative. Personal income, of course, that's going down because you can never make good wages here in America, and that's why the tariff thing is going to be a great thing, and manufacturing coming back is going to be a great thing. Cause some competition in the job market, even better, and bring back real jobs and not those fake ones that you see all over LinkedIn. Personal spending month over month, 0.4. So we do have the scenario of personal spending going up and personal income going down. If those numbers come out like that, that would be next Wednesday as well. So GDP growth rate, personal income, personal spending, and core PCE all coming out, and the ADP employment change. So even more. Oh my goodness. Gosh, that's gonna be a day. Now, does earnings distract from a lot of that? We'll see. We shall see. We shall see. Feels so rug pulley. Yeah, you're in the rug pull kind of area. So if you're scared, it's pretty simple. It's like if I think that my plan is in the next month or 2 months, we're going to end up here, right? If I just say my bet was down here that we're going to end up in the next month up here, well, then this would be the decision-making area for that trade if you want to keep it safe, right? It would be, am I going to take profit? Am I going to leave runners? Am I going to take full profit like Jonna was talking about and then see if a pullback happens and just be bummed out if you miss out on something bigger? Okay, that's the opportunity cost argument. And then the other one is, hey, hedging, right? Hedging is a good thing. Now, do I want to hedge and treat this like a full short position? No, I think that the market will end up here most likely. I'm just saying this is a risky place, so this is possible. So hedging, is a decision that can be made. This is a decision-making area. Yeah, yeah, Baba. That's what I'm saying. It's like we go down 5%, but everyone screams it's going to crash lower, right? Remember this? Everyone's saying it's going to crash down another 10% from right here. Didn't happen. We were talking about this before it happened because we always try to talk a little bit into the future. And we're not right all the time, but hey, if something sets up that we were paying attention to, that's great. Took some profit off instead of hedging. Rajit, see, decision-making area. But yeah, this right here, everyone was saying, yeah, the market's going to keep crashing. But in the environment, pay attention to the mental. The mental side now is, now that we're going up, people are going, oh, it's going to keep crashing. So either direction that we go, we're going to keep crashing, apparently, right? A lot of people will have that standpoint. And if they start to get wrong, they can continue to be wrong for a long time and lose their whole account. That's just how it happens. This is short squeezes are what make you lose an account if you fight against them. Think a market like this, yeah, being quick with it, Noah. Being a little quick with it. Yeah, why are the semiconductors were our hint? That's the funny part for me. It's still a 4.5% move. Like, don't get it twisted. This is taking back the 5. It's still a very good thing. I think that if anything, you're just going, hey, something down to here can't happen. Retests are not a bad thing, right? This could still be structure in some way, right? This could be structure in some way, right? Nothing goes like this. Everyone think, crashes, people think goes like this. Squeezes or say rallies, or just a regular rally, people think go like this. When in reality, crashes look like this, right? That's what crashes look like a lot of the time. And then in reality, a rally looks like this. That's a rally, right? But people think it goes like this. It can sometimes. That would be more of a squeeze. I think you're aware that a squeeze can happen in this environment. But in order for a squeeze, you got to be breaking through these levels. You got to get above that weekly expected move, and you got to hold it. BTC was the hint for me. Yeah, triple divergence on Bitcoin. Pretty new to stock, Mozart. No, that's perfectly fine, Mozart. And I'm sorry if I'm killing your name, but it looks like Mozart, and I think that's cool. No, if you're new to markets, that's perfectly fine. Keep asking, keep asking, keep asking. Sometimes my tone, and especially today, I'm a little bit under the weather, so not like sick, I wouldn't say, but I just don't feel 100% today. So you might hear my voice in a certain tone. I'm not trying to be a douche. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to belittle or anything like that. I'm just telling it how it is. Yeah, it's a very complex market, but I would say this for new investors, right, Baba? If you can survive in a market like this early, then you have a very good chance of surviving in a easy market. Right? You have a very good chance of surviving or being able to invest with like a weekly divergence, right? It's like that's going to be really simple to you if you can figure all this type of stuff out. RTX for the most part does have daily divergence if that thing whips back up. I would say that. Kind of interesting. It's kind of a crazy look, so I don't know if it's like the best thing to be paying attention to, but it's kind of a crazy look. You don't have a lot to go off of. You would say 2-hour curls up. That could be a great thing. You could make a new all-time high, I think, off that. This could be form of double bottom right now. It's just weird to get the good earnings, see that plummet down, then see that come back to the upside, right? So if the 2-hour can confirm, that'd be great. Very sporadic though, so me personally, I wouldn't be really touching it, but you can do what you want to do. I like the 2-hour look. I'd say that's good confirmation if you're practicing good risk to reward and things like that. If you're practicing good risk management, I think you'll be fine, even if something were to go wrong. Tesla up, but crap earnings, so BS. Well, stock market do what the stock market want to do, 50-50, right? Mandatory AMC and GME check. Those things are, not doing the best. They're really not. Weirdly enough, AMC saw a better pop than GME, which I think is interesting. GME forming little bits of divergence, especially on the 2-hour chart. The 2-hour crosses down here. Bye-bye GME. That's what the signal suggests if this 2-hour were to cross down. Now, is it crossed down right now? Is this bad right now? No, this is exactly what you need to see in order to get a squeeze. But if the 2-hour crosses, that's exactly what you need to see to react, because the game has just changed, right? When things change, I change. That's what trading like water is, right? We trade like water on this channel for a reason. If things change, I change. Oh, starting now would have been, way better than change. Hey, that's facts, dude. That's facts, Mozart. Starting to invest here would be much better than starting to invest here in what, late January. You went through a lot of pain to start off your investment journey. So yeah, we'll keep you updated, Mozart. That was pretty funny. But if you're looking for I don't know how old you are or something like that, but if you're relatively new and relatively young, you can take a lot of risk out of the market by just saying, hey, I'm going to invest in shares, not do some kind of option thing. What I would say is just like an 80-20 thing, or maybe even get that to a 70-30, invest 70, take on the risk with 30%, and try to do options things. Because you're young, you have time to build back over time with those investments. Become like water, be like water. I know I've never even seen that movie, and people say it's Bruce Lee. And then I just kind of thought of it when I was first making my channel, and I was just like, yeah, that's kind of what I do. I just kind of trade back and forth, and I'm always paying attention to risk, and I'm always doing things that are reactionary. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, keep the options like limited, but still at a nice risk level if you're young, right? If you're anywhere below like, I would say 35, you having a 30% towards options, probably not the worst thing in the world, as long as you're being careful with your 70% that are investments, looking at dividends and things like that. But you got to do what's best for you, because everyone's different when it comes to money. Apple with higher lows. Let's go check on Apple real quick. Apple's running into some resistance here as well. But if you really look at this from the 2-hour perspective, you're going, wow, the Apple, Apple for the most part, you look at Apple and you just pull up a 2-hour chart and you think very simply about it, right? You zoom out. If you zoom out completely and just think very simply, you go, okay, if we're going to do this and this is going to be my higher low, then this is probably where we're going to get to, right? And if I treat it that simple, it's pretty nice. And what did we do? Hey, we told you about Apple. Look at that 95% line. Remember we saw the divergence down here, 30-minute divergence, boom, back into that 95%. Here you go, 95% bounce, boom. Very, very nice for Apple. In this area, I don't know if a breakthrough right now, that would be very squeeze-like. Something like this would be very nice going into Friday. Then you squeeze into Friday and Monday maybe, or just see bigger pullbacks to fill both gaps. And then you curl that back up going into Friday. So that Monday, you can see the big move. We've seen the massive moves on Mondays, really. So I'm interested to see what this market does by Friday. I think pulling back from here would be fantastic. And that is the most likely scenario for the day, technically. If we take everything out of consideration, we know something unexpected happened. But if we just take into consideration our probabilities, well, then 68% chance to do that. And Amazon's showing that on a weekly scale. And a lot of other charts are too. I think Meta's showing it too. Let me go look. Yeah, Meta went past its 68% line. So the most likely scenario is never going to be a squeeze. Why? Well, that would take you outside of here. That would be unexpected. That would be a 32% thing, right? So at the same time, we can read into this and say, this is the most probable thing, but if we're going to squeeze, that would be unexpected. So maybe I don't want to take all profit here, but maybe I want to take a good amount. That way I'm pretty safe with it, or break even at least, and then see those runners. If we do something like that, those are going to be worth a pretty penny. I know, it's so close to 69, isn't it, Brian? God, so close, I need a pullback. Well, yeah, John, that's that you gave away the opportunity cost. And at the end of it, There are times where you're going to make that type of decision, Jonna, and you're going to kick yourself and be like, ah, damn, see, we had the divergences, we squeezed right then, that was wrong. But then there are going to be times, right? There are going to be times where it curls back down, right? That decision is still a good one in both scenarios. That is still a good decision on both scenarios, Jonna. It's just, if this one played out, you're going to be bummed out. If this one played out, you're going to be happy if it curls back up, right? If the opportunity shows its face again. This one makes you happy. This one bums you out. And that's just the way of the game. But understanding that it is a good decision whether you end up a little bit bummed out because you still made profit, right? So there's no way you didn't make profit on this type of move. So it's like, you still made profit, so why be that bummed out? And weirdly enough, that decision, you most likely would be more happy because you took profit. You'd be more happy if this one happened than you would be bummed out if it didn't. I'm just talking about the mental side a little bit. But I cannot risk now. No, I'm not. Yeah, my profits that I took with Meta, I'm not even thinking about applying that money right now. Waiting. Good call on Meta. Stepped in yesterday late. Nice job, Future House. And it is at a key level. Hopefully you're a part of Patreon. I'm sorry, I can't keep track of everyone that's a part of Patreon. But hopefully you're a part of Patreon because it ran into a very, very key level. And a retest of like 511, or even gap fill would be fantastic for Meta. Truly would be. Yeah, it really would be. Damn. That's what I'm going to hope for Meta. I really hope for gap fill for Meta, and then we just turn back up on a 30-minute. It's nice and simple. Everybody always talking about filling the gaps. What about filling the gaps down? What about the 2 back-to-back 5% drops down? What about the 15% in the Qs in 3 days? Hey, facts. Facts. So you're talking about this one? Yeah. But for right now, I just want you to understand that's the gap I want to hit. If you're talking about that one. But also, it's just, what does my 30-minute look like right now, right? If the 30-minute looks like, oh, a pullback would be necessary, I'm getting overbought, I'm going to pay more attention to this gap right now than this one. Now, if I'm looking at a bigger time frame, like the 2-hour, do you know what gap I'm paying attention to? This one. I don't care if it does this. It can do that. I don't care, right? It just depends on the time frame and how you're trading it. And the bad thing is, Ryan, you might be trading in longer terms than other people. And a lot of people here that join the channel, join the live show, they're day traders. So of course, most people try to day trade, which I think is hilarious. So of course, what are they going to pay attention to? They see a big move up that's unexpected by them. So they say, oh, we're going to fill the gap, right? They're looking for the fade. So you just understand that little thing and you'll realize, oh, well, that makes sense why a lot of people are talking about this gap and not that one up there. Plus the mental side of everyone being so bearish all the time. Plus the potential for this is the area where bears are lurking, right? But I'm paying attention to the upward gap more, for reapplying my money, I'm looking here. Reapplying the profit that I decided to take, I'm looking here. But for the trade that I still have, I'm paying attention to here. PLTR, Palantir. Palantir for the time being, great stuff. We extended this out to the hourly chart and it used extended hours. But if you just looked at this, I want to see if the hourly did confirm. Yeah, if we looked at this, we said this the other day. I believe this was yesterday in the morning when someone asked. I was just like, I'd be looking for an hourly confirmation. Because if you get hourly confirmation, you are just looking at a swing trade that looks like it's very likely with good structure to actually test the high or go make a new one. What ended up happening for Palantir? It curled up, it gave the swing trade signal, and then we went up to the upside and we're actually getting past. We gapped above this, so we tested this and we said we're going further. And so this is a thank you. Thank you. Now you got to watch out for that 2-hour rotating down, but I mean, look at this buildup. That's pretty nice. So we're looking for those little retests probably. This is nice. Love it. I did see some people talking about Google and Google earnings. When is Google earnings? Because I can't remember who's talking about it, but someone online I think was talking about it, and they were stating, and it's very intelligent to state this. Google, if you read into it, well, legacy media is doing worse and worse, and more advertising is going to YouTube every single month. So that should be a good thing as far as ad revenue for Google. And I was like, if you're reading into it that way, it could potentially, and it's at a good spot, it potentially risk to reward. I get it, but I still treat these like from the technical side as 50-50 flips. But that would be Thursday night. So that means that could come out Thursday night. That'd be fantastic. We haven't even seen a 5-minute roll down yet, right? And we still have that weekly expected move there. Now, we don't have to tag it directly. I treat it like a little mini zone, right? Really, I should draw them as zones, but for the time being, we can see that the 5-minute is just so positive here. So positive. It can be a mean pullback, right? We can do this all in 5 minutes. We could do this, and then we could curl back down with something, and then Google earnings comes out. You could do a lot. That's why I'm just watching the 30-minute and making decisions. Took some profits, waiting for something on Thursday, possibly. Yeah. Decision-making area. Put holders who bought at the close on Monday and are still holding are getting their booty cheeks. Oh, God. IWM, great move. I don't know. Is that the actual weekly expected move? I don't think that's the weekly expected move. Let's see. Oh, it is. Oh, yeah, we did give you IWM. Okay, so IWM, you see it right there going into the weekly. This is great for IWM, though. It's like, IWM was complex because it didn't have the same level of resistance. You have resistance here, here, pull it across right there, and even right here, right now with that gap resistance. So you have a lot of levels of resistance to get through to actually go to this spot. So something really good for this would be a retest to grab that liquidity to head higher. I really would like 30-minute pullbacks, but just because I would like it doesn't mean there isn't potential to squeeze here. There is. That's just as far as the probabilities go. It says pullback's more probable. Squeeze won't be as probable, but if it happens, that's why I'm holding on to the runners. I think we're in a scenario where it's likely. Just took a short at the weekly. For IWM, I'll look at IWM, but I don't know if that's I already took my profits, so I don't think hedging's the right move for me just yet. Small risk if we make 194.70 amount. So you're keeping it tight. That's probably good. I'm gonna go peek over at volatility for a brief moment here. Oh, that's not what I wanted to look at. I want to keep you guys in the chat while I do it. Amazon's still looking pretty awesome. We love to see that. Volatility not fully getting rid of this yet. I'll get rid of that little thing and I'll feel very confident holding on to some things. Just get any kind of inclination here. Dollar coming back in. That's nice. HYG with the nice move up. PCC going back to the center. So people are already starting to turn more neutral here. Yeah, A at a key level. Apple at a key level. Tesla taking it right back. Tesla with a 30-minute bar that faded, right? Good move up, good gap up, full fade. about a half fade, and then really trying to take back that entire bar right now. That's pretty cool. Nvidia's not doing as much the same. Meta getting outside the weekly expected move, then on the next 30-minute bar, getting a wick exactly on the weekly expected move. So we'll see how it pans out. Interesting. Good stuff. Could sit there all day, though. I don't really see any hints here, too. Pull back tomorrow before next leg up is my guess. I mean, I bet a lot of wish we had our old what's it called? Our Elliott Wave people still in here. Because they'd potentially be like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe would happen or something like that. I don't know. I'd have to go look at an Elliott Wave person. Maybe I can find an Elliott Wave person who's breaking this down right now. It just depends on how, you don't know. Elliott Wave for me is just like really not useful in my opinion. At least for me, it might be to you guys, to some of you guys with your strategies, but for me, I don't think it's really ever helped me. Two-hour spot, zoom out. Spotify, 2 hour. That's a whoa. Is that a daily double bottom though? Let's see. I mean, that's trying to be a daily double bottom. You have oh well, it's not going to be though. It's going to be more looking, at least on your MACD and RSI. It's not going to call it divergence. It could be potential, but it's not going to necessarily be divergence. But I like that double bottom look. And then we reach up to that high. So what you're hoping for there, what I think would be great is like a 30-minute or even 2-hour pullback, but that looks really controlled too. Oh gosh, if that thing fails on the 2-hour, you're kind of upset. I'd rather see 30-minute pullback and nothing for the 2-hour. I guess I could pull back on the 2-hour to get that retrace type thing. Probably come down to like 550 would be good. A test of 575 and you bounce off it would be better though. Go volatility, go, go, go. All right. What bad news are we going to get in this area now? What bad news are they talking about? What are they teeing you up for? Let's go check. Let's just check something stupid like Yahoo Finance. White House considers slashing China tariffs as Trump de-escalates. The next story. Trump does not slash China tariffs. No, that's not a story right now. But that's what I could see in the future to cause some selling. China escalates further as Trump does not slash the tariffs. Well, that could be a potential headline. But, we haven't seen bad news. We're only getting good. Intel stock surges. Tech giants to plow 500 billion cash forward into more buyback. I'm kind of worried that a lot of this news is good right now. Kind of worried that Yahoo Finance is showing like, oh, Meta just slammed back on the EU fine. A lot of this is encouraging to buy, and that's usually it's not necessarily the right thing, right? They were really negative like what, 2 days ago? And then we see upside, then they're really positive 2 days later. But they were really mad about this moment. That was what was different. Maybe it's still good. Yeah, Chris, I'm kind of in that. I'm fine, right? Took some profit. We're looking good. Oh shoot! God dang it! I did the coffee thing again. Is it still warm? It's warm. Not hot, but warm. Mm. Let's do this. Let's at least look for 5-minute weakness. We don't even see 5-minute weak. You see 5-minute weakness on your RSI. Weirdly enough, you do see it. If you kind of blow this up. Okay, if I would not draw on the freaking RSI, okay. Boom. You do see that kind of trickling in, but you don't see anything on your RSI. So that just means like 5-minute could do a lot. It's good to be holding sideways, right? That's good. But something like this would actually potentially bring you down to fill those gaps. But other than that, it's just like if you just fail that, you're going to squeeze. So it's like day traders are buying into the next hour. It was lower a bit ago, so I don't know if people are seeing it stall, right? I think people do this all the time in the morning, and retail's guilty of it every time. They see this and they buy calls immediately. They're like, it's gapping up, it's gonna squeeze, it's gonna go insane, and then it just does this for a while, and then they go, oh, okay, I'm gonna short it, and then it just whips back up, and they're just wrong twice. What are the chances we see a pullback to 530? I think it's pretty good by Friday. Chances are pretty good. That would take you into the like middle of your weekly. So pretty much it's like it's within the realm of the 68% probability. So it's a higher probability to see Rocky. It's a higher probability to see than say this, but you're in a scenario where good news just came out. And if that's good enough news to keep you above key levels and you just see nothing curl down, right? I always say that. I say like, oh yeah, that's definitely probable. But it's, are you seeing things here that actually make it an opportunity, right? We kind of discussed this yesterday a little bit, right? Just because something is probable does not mean it's an opportunity. Do you see the things that make it so it's a good trade? Do you see it as entry? Do you see easy things? Do you get hints, right? Is it an actual setup versus, oh, this could head up, right? That's like the dollar. I said this with the dollar. Hey, this is a 4-hour divergence. This can reverse back around, right? We said that down in here. Okay, awesome. It reversed back around. We were right. But did I say, oh, but did I say, yeah, I'm betting money behind it? No, I said the opposite in my video. I literally said, I'm not betting money behind it because this is not a good enough setup for me to risk money behind. So even though I can go and say, oh, this was very probable, right? Going up now is very probable for the dollar. I still said this is not a good opportunity because I don't have enough good things going on to give me enough confidence to actually take the play. Well, I mean, we're right there. We might as well go tap onto that weekly expected move, you know? The scary part for me is, and maybe Chris would like this, is stops. Short stops here. Wipe out the stops, then send it down again, and then everyone thinks it's going to go lower. Those people reapply those positions again at the lows, and then you whip this thing back in that upward direction. That would be crazy. Now, this still can get worse, right? We know this can get worse. What could happen? Well, the 2-hour could rotate down. All this could be given up, right? We want to think anything could happen. It's just that's way less likely. But I could see us taking out some stops up here, turning down for a little bit. I could see that. I could see us squeezing right now too. That's why my money is positioned in the way that it's, I'm reacting in case a drop happens, but I'm also reacting in a way that says I'm willing to hold on to things in case we squeeze, right? And that's the way that I play things. You have to go through how you like to look at things. You can't just try to follow someone on YouTube. I love it. Then calls at the bottom, glorious off the dip. Yeah, we just hit like a daily expected move, like midway through the day tomorrow, or create a little 5-minute divergence tomorrow at the daily expected move towards the end of the day. Whoo, that'd be sick. Isn't this already a squeeze? It's the beginning stages, yeah, but you're at the key level. You're right where the bears like to tackle things. So what I would, there's just think of it mentally, Rajiv. Like if we went now, that means the job's done. People are bearish enough. We're going to squeeze them. Let's go. And that's why I'm holding on to some stuff. But I'm selling in this area a little bit. Why? Well, one, this is my first take profit, right? We hit a weekly expected move. It's something that convinces me to take profit. We're hitting the bear area. That happens to coincide. Yeah, we take profit, right? Because shorts is a less probable thing, even though it looks really highly likely with the scenario that we're in. But something that I wanted to talk about was the mentality. Right now, people just got that good news, that potential good news, Powell not getting fired. Thank goodness. I was scared he wasn't going to be able to feed his family because he cares about communities. I was really worried about that. So he's not fired anymore. Apparently, he never was going to be. And the potential for proposals being out there, right? Especially when it comes to China. So what would happen if just a tiny, tiny piece of bad news came out and people saw a flush like this and it looked really, really ugly? Maybe it's even deeper and you see it flush all the way down to here. What would people be saying? They'd be saying, see, we told you so. This is the crash. And then it would turn up and they would say, no, 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 that's a dead cat bounce. And then it starts to explode on Monday. The trap over the weekend is much scarier than a trap right now in my mind. What up, Mr. Orister? Sorry, that was hard. That was difficult. What is the good news? Oh, hopefully you just heard me say it. Jerome Powell's not fired. He apparently was never going to be, and Trump was just saying something off the cuff, and they ran with it in the media. Maybe he baited it. Who knows? It's kind of like doing the same thing over and over again without success is like what the kind of the definition of insanity. Well, I think the other side to insanity is playing the game that has success for a long time and then it changes and you keep trying to do the same thing. Right? If something changes and I try to do the same thing, doesn't really make sense. Right? If a outdoor soccer field is I'm wearing cleats all the time on an outdoor soccer field, and then they turn it into an indoor soccer field that's maybe it's futsal and it's played on a basketball court in there because basketball's picking up, but they're still keeping soccer there, so they switch it. Well, is it smart for me to wear my cleats now? Is it smart for me to wear my cleats on a basketball floor? No, that's not the best analogy, but it's still like it gets the point across of like if I don't change, I'm just kind of insane. So this is not the environment changing fully yet. We are at the key level where the environment has to change. And what I'm suggesting is if Wall Street wants to be nice and sneaky and the news media wants to help them out, they can say a bunch of bad things right here and cause a crash looking thing for a brief moment. That's just a pullback, and then people will say it's going to crash over the weekend, and then Jim Cramer will say Black Monday again, just like he did right here. He said Black Monday, then Black Monday again later on, right? So Black Monday, we were just like Black Monday is not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. If it did, I would have been wrong, and I knew there was a percentage chance of it happening, but I'm very confident when I have a 95% chance to be right to say things. I've told some friends about your class, and they always ask how you know the probability works exactly 68% of the time. How'd you explain that to someone? And just say it's you can back test potentially. Like I could potentially record a lot of these things. The hard part is, and you can probably look at back data on certain platforms and things like that for weekly expected moves, but it's just a normal bell curve. The way that we describe it in the course should be a good enough way to describe it to them, right? That's why I always encourage people not to take the course when they're new here, right? Even though it's on an 80% discount, you'll hear me say all the time, do not take the course until you are here for a while, right? Don't take the course because I want to prove these things to you. That's why sometimes I'll pull over those. That's why I showed Apple in my video and showed the weekly expected move and how it tapped into it and tapped off of it. I like to show those things for those reasons. Now, I was the same way, Onda. I was the same way. I was like, how the hell do I know if this is actually a 68% zone and all this and this and this, right? I get it. That's probably one of the first questions that comes in. But I've done it for long enough now. I didn't just like get weekly expected moves and start risking money around them with reversal signals all the time. No, I just looked for the reversal signals and I noticed that the better ones play out to the weekly expected move, right? But I've used weekly expected moves for what, 3.5 years now, maybe more. I think 3.5 years now, maybe 4, maybe a little over 4. So I have the confidence behind them now because I've spent enough time looking at them to know, oh yeah, these reactions happen way more often than they don't. Now, why am I able to say that? Well, because most of my trades end up profitable. Let's say 68% of the time, right? So it's kind of like asking, it's kind of, and it's similar to this too. It's similar to saying, on a roulette board, how do you know that it's going to land on one of those numbers X amount of the time? Well, you don't. You could violate these moves 20 times in a row. But with time, that percentage comes back, right? That's kind of like how the house plays it too. So it's not the easiest thing to explain, but as you do more time behind it, and as you see more good things around it, and as it proves itself more and more and more, you have more confidence in it. And I think that just goes to time as a trader, time behind your strategy, time behind how you look at markets and how long you're able to stay in the game and continue to try to make the best decisions possible, right? So I want to give you more than trust me, bro, but I've done it for 3.5 to, I would say, 4 years, and I've utilized them for a long period of time. And then I started to implement monthly and daily, well, monthly and monthly expected moves monthly. I started to implement later on. And those have really worked out really well too. And we've proven that multiple times on this channel, right? Now you won't see monthlies as much, but we do see weeklies all the time. And so you can take a marker of that. But overall, I haven't taken a marker of it. I utilized it, after looking at it for about 6 months. I was like, wow, the trade setups that were the best were the ones that were around the weekly expected moves. And we tapped off of them and we landed back in the zone when no one thought we would. And it's a 68% zone. So that's kind of what the channel's for too. It's like they don't have to go and back test all the time. You can see, I could point you to 2 or 3 successful people that utilize weekly expected moves, right? So it's not just me. And tell them that too, Onda. Don't tell them that I made these up myself and I have all the answers. No, someone taught me how to do it. I didn't pay them to teach me how to do it. I figured it out myself, but then I made sure to follow that person and make sure mine was within a reasonable amount of their expected moves. And then over time, my expected moves actually proved to be better. So I must be pulling the IV from a certain area that just allows them to be a tiny, tiny bit better, which is great with me. Like, I'm happy about that. But I was only able to see that difference over a full year of utilizing them, right? I was only able to really see that difference after watching it for a full year. Yeah, the bigger thing to do, Onda, with those people is tell them he didn't make them up. He didn't create them. They've been around for a long time. He just learned how to calculate it, right? Let's see this. Let's see if we can do a little better for you, because I think that's a really good question. And it's sad that the only way I can answer it is kind of like, I've done it for a long time, trust me, bro. That's why I'm going to try to find you a better answer, maybe a better explanation. Let's see if it comes out for it. Let's see if it can find something for me. And if I want to make sure an explanation makes sense too. If it doesn't make sense, then that's just worthless. Yeah, okay. So this is actually a way to explain it even better. And it's kind of how we explain the calculation actually. So the calculation is what it's doing is technically this, right? These are being formed because of the money that's in the market trading around, and you're getting an IV, right? You get the implied volatility. So you have hard data points that overall give you the calculation based on what people are doing with real money in the options market. So the way to explain it is the options market is giving you the information you need to create the highest potential area where you could land each week, right? So I'm just doing the calculation, right? I'm just calculating it with that normal curve and saying, okay, well, these people are betting down here. These people are betting down here. These people are betting way out here. These people are betting in the middle. Okay, if I pile all that together, what's the IV that I get for that stock? What's the price that stock is at? And then I can say, okay, how many days do I have to that expiration for those people? Because why do you need the days to expiration? Well, because you have things like delta, you have things like theta, you have all those kinds of things. So really, the answer, and actually, it's way better than my answer. Trust me, bro. I mean, at least you can see there are multiple people that use it. I didn't come up with it. I just calculate it. But the actual definition is in the calculation itself, right? It's not from some magical land, right? It is from the actual data of money that is being moved. If you are going to see a big crash bet put on, then the IV will increase, and that will be shown in this by spreading out these moves, right? If we get big bets to be placed, then these will spread out, like massive bets across the board. Now, that would mean two things as well. What if there is a big trade placed, and so you think these should spread out, but all of retail is unaware of that big thing? And that's where we talk about the people who know more than you do. And the people who know more than you do probably have big bets, but you'll notice that ranges come in. So why do we hear about when ranges are in like this, that people make a ton of money when something crazy happens? Well, they probably knew more than you did, right? And there was a big bet placed here, but no one was placing those kinds of bets. No one was really doing much down in here to say that, right? So the implied volatility was still low. And so when that happens, it's almost like a surprise, right? So the definition and how you would really explain it to those type of people is just say it's literally calculating the information that the options market is giving you, right? It's actually taking into consideration the options market. And the other thing to mention to them is it is not a 100% thing, right? It's never a 100% thing. You could get a random piece of news that just shoots you up. You have to also be able to understand, if you're going to use probabilities, the 1%. The 1% is a nuke hits somewhere now. It's like, okay, that's a very, very low likelihood moment. But is it still possible? Yes. So you have to understand that as well. But for the most part, it's just, hey, it's taking in the information of real money, all of it. It's taking into consideration in that moment all of the money that's being moved around, and then that's the IV you get. So there are bigger bets being placed right now. That's why we have higher implied volatility, right? Because there's more money being placed. There's more big bets being placed. There's bigger reactions left and right. So I would go with that angle. I would really try to talk to them about it. And then just tell them like, hey, take it into consideration that people have used these for a very, very long time, longer than I've used them. That's for sure. Right. And it gave a longer explanation. I mean, that's always good. So technically, weekly expected moves came up right when options pricing came up. So options pricing went all the way back to the 1970s. So technically, weekly expected moves have been around since the 1970s. But it really started to escalate and people started to actually use them. Like they actually had more, I would say, credibility towards the 80s and 90s, apparently, because that's when the options market started to grow and more money went into the options market. This is a good way to explain it too. The reason that any strategy and the reason that any investor and things like that should be paying attention to monthly and weekly expected moves is because this market right now is heavily dictated by options. Everything now, options, options, options. Everyone out there wants to do options, right? So why wouldn't you pay attention to the data point that calculates using options? And that's why right now you might be in a time where those weekly expected moves are getting it more right than ever, because you have more people in the options market than ever before, right? So that's a good way to put it for you. But I know it's not the best explanation in the world, but I'm trying, my dude. Yeah, there's multiple ways to explain it, Onda. Probably don't go with the trust me, bro one. Maybe like end with that. Be like, this guy's used them for years, but also tell them they've been around since like the 70s. They got really big towards the 80s and 90s, and this is a very options driven market, so you need calculations based on the options market. IWM pulling back. Let's go check on that bad boy off of the weekly expected move. Ooh, dang, weekly expected move. What are you doing, boy? Wolfie boy seeing some nice upside. We'll see what happens with that bad boy. I just had it up on my other charts for a second. Boy. Yep, full casino mode. Investing in a good company for a good retirement is boring. That's how people are, though, Alex, and that's the environment we're in. That's why, like options are like why liquidity is a thing, pretty much, right? Liquidity probably wasn't as big of a thing before options. What's Baba doing? Oh, sorry, Baba. Might be a bull trap, might not be. Depends on whether Trump wants to clap the market's cheeks this week or take it out to dinner first. It doesn't depend on that. It depends on, do we get a good deal with China or not? And markets can do whatever they want to do before then. It's just you're very likely that if something here's what you're likely to see, by the way, Baba. If something goes slightly wrong with these proposals, you're going to see it treated like hell. You're going to see it just like, oh my god, this is the worst. He didn't get a deal done. China is reacting. We're not going to lessen the tariffs. We're not stopping the tariff. Watch, that's if we see something really bad right here, that's what you're going to see in the news. You're going to see them take a very small thing that really isn't that bad and turn it into a big thing to convince you it's really bad, and then markets are going to bleed, retail's going to sell out. Oh, I know, Baba. I just wanted to I like chatting. I'm a talker. If you guys didn't notice. I was kind of quiet this morning because I wasn't feeling the best, and my wife's like, "Are you okay?" I do need some Okay, now we're okay. There's an app for that. It's called Tinder. Tinder. Oh well, I don't know which way you're swinging. There's also Grinder. I don't know if you're a switch hitter or not. See, Richard knows because he has both on his phone. You've never heard that before, Noah? I've been saying that since college. I've been saying that. What other weird things have I said? Richard's like, yeah, I check them every day, every morning. I use all my swipes because I'm not paying premium for that stuff, but I'll use my 50 swipes for the day. I don't even know. I don't even know. I know my buddy used to pay for it because remember we talked about my buddy. He used to pay for it. He had like a 6 cents for how to do it. Hey man, just got in. What's good news? And how's the keys looking to you? The good news is, Powell's not getting fired, and a lot of proposals on the table right now for the Trump tariffs that are going on with those countries. So good things, and even some good things inclined towards China, India, and Japan, which are all very important markets for us. So that's fantastic. They're very good. They're very important relationships. So but I think that we need to understand that people might think that, oh, a proposal's there, something's going to go through right now. It's important to know what a quick move would be for a proposal. Something gets proposed, the negotiation starts. A lot of the time, I think the data point everyone keeps pointing out is on average, a quick time is like 12 to 18 months. So, should you expect a deal to be done tonight? Probably not. But do people who just did this, do you think that these people expect that a deal is being done tonight? Yeah, I think they do. And I would say, that's cool. I would love it if that happened. But I'd say it's more likely it's going to take at least like, maybe on the shortest of time frames, you would say it could take, I said 6 months. I said anything before 6 months, you're going, wow, that's a miracle. Right. And then if you get it in the next like week, that is a 1% moment. Do you know what happens if you actually get a deal in the next week? This will happen again. That's what I think. I think this will happen again if you get a deal in the next week, especially when it comes to like China. China, I think if you get a good deal with China, you get more than that. That's what I think. And they said, I'll let you view it or listen to it for a second if you would like. What was it? If we could find that girl real quick. White House press secretary. I don't want to look for this for a long time. Latest. Someone's got to post this pretty quick. Okay, people are posting freaking leggings and stuff. It was in our previous video, but pretty much she's just stating that oh god, freaking everyone's focusing on Tim Pool. I'm never gonna be able to find this thing on Twitter now. I'm gonna have to look on YouTube or something. So you don't have to trust me, bro, on this one. You can go look for yourself. You can look at my previous video that I posted last night and see the statement. It's a very good statement saying we are moving at Trump speed. Trump speed. They're trying to move at Trump speed, meaning they want deals done very, very quickly. And at Trump speed, I would say that means I would say less than 6 months. I would say Trump speed, if he's really being, the flash about it, then I would say, okay, in the next couple of weeks, that would be fantastic. Right. So that's how I'd really be reading into it. I'd be like, I would not be expecting a deal tonight. If a deal happened tonight, that would cause an explosion. Trump is speaking right now. Oh God, do I need to go listen to it? Oh, I'm scared to go listen to it, man. Everyone hangs on every word. I don't see anything. I need to switch into my other account real quick. Why is this being so weird? I don't see anything. Okay, maybe I need to filter this bad boy. I'm seeing all those fake accounts that always talk about Trump is talking like at all times. So nothing that I would really consider hard, like a good news source. Can you keep us updated? Hold on, doing TV about Trump. If anyone sees anything from Trump, that'd be great. Facts, Abram. If that simple thing, if they want an apology, they're probably not going to get one. MSTR, I think MSTR looks pretty decent. I mean, it already showed the decent thing. It's just, did you react at the right time? Now it's looking like this might pull back at some point. But the time to get in on MSTR was, from even a daily perspective, would have been 311. And then that's a nice 33-point move to start you off. Retests are welcome. I think if MSTR wanted to, I think a 2-hour pullback all the way down into gap fill towards 318 would be the perfect level to get to. So 2-hour pullback seems most probable for MSTR. GME rejected right to where you mentioned this morning. GME as well. That's at a key level. Pay attention. That curls down. That means bad things. Trump live update. Just 37% of Americans approve of president's handling of economy. Polls show. The Independent. Americans approve of president's handling of economy. His numbers, from what I saw, they were going up, but maybe they've started to go down. Am I an idiot to go long now? Depends on how you're trading it. If you're looking longer term, then there are some things that are saying this could be a good thing right now. And if you don't care about pullbacks in here and you don't really care and you think we're going to end up here in the next 2 months, then that's a different story. If you're trying to day trade, then you're probably going, oh, if you're trying to day trade, then going long right here usually is a silly decision, but doesn't mean it can't be right? It's just a percentage. Everything's a percentage. Just this is more probable than this right now. Especially because the daily expected moves, we can utilize those for the day and say, for the day, this would be a 1% moment. You're potentially already seeing a 1% moment. I can go look actually and see if we are. Let me go look. That's why we have these calculations. 545.49. So yeah, you saw a 5% moment today. So you have a 95% chance to not go higher than like 545.50. But if you did, that's where big money goes, right? Because no one would expect it. Only 5% of people would be willing to do that, probably. And if this turns into 95% of people think that that's going to happen, well, then you're probably going to do that. 68% chance to land here, 5% chance to land up in here by the end of the day. So it just depends on how you're trading it. Day trading versus longer term trading is totally, the percentages completely change if you just zoom out to a daily chart. Trump is scheduled to sign executive orders at 5 p.m. I mean, talk to me like I'm an idiot, but executive orders, do those have something to do with tariffs? I don't even know. Waiting for more confirmation. It's starting to get whipped back and forth out of everything for now. So the IWM play just took a little bit there. I mean, you can just see, are you experiencing at least a 5-minute? And look how controlled it is. So that's a good thing. Something the 5-minute could give us for a hint is just go bloop and then fall back down. Probably the same thing for the SPY, right? Holding sideways, holding sideways, holding sideways. Bloop. Do we just see this thing keep squeezing? Awesome. Do we see it go like this and then confirm back down? Ooh, that looks like 30-minute pullback. Now, that can get wiped out if we get good news again, right? If something solid comes out, say at 5 p.m. during those executive orders. Oh yeah, I've seen those videos. Okay, cool. Thank you, Jesus. I'm just spewing Trump news. Hey, that's fine. Trump news is any kind of news that you see as relevant is not banned from the chat. Breaking Trump announces the cheek clapping program. He's just very off the cuff. He's just willing to tell things how it is while it's happening, and people overreact. They're like, would you ever fire Jerome Powell? He's like, yeah, I'd be looking to fire Jerome Powell if he's not going to cut these rates soon. And then everyone's like, he's going to fire Jerome Powell. He said it himself. There's a 90% chance he fires Jerome Powell in the next 3 weeks and this and this and this. And then he just goes, I really was never going to fire Jerome Powell. They just kind of ran with that. And I'm like, okay. Either that or he flip-flopped, and either way turned out to be a good thing for the market. So yeah, if we keep holding, this is a good thing. We shall see. There's a lot that can happen by the end of the day. So if you want to join us for the live stream at the end of the day, that's over on Rumble. And unfortunately, I will have to be hopping off right now. It's past our time, but we will be live later today over on Rumble. The link is down there in the description. And if you wanted to learn, if any of this stuff's confusing you, if you don't know how we were discussing why it was very probable to see something like this and the scenario that we're going through was kind of confusing you, hey, that course is down there in the description. That's 80% off. But maybe you're a seasoned trader and you're pretty good at your strategy and you just want a little bit more information, maybe another take of mine during market hours when things are setting up. Well, then maybe you want to join the Patreon, right? $7, a cup of coffee can go a long way. It is very, very good to have on your charts if you're trading those individual stocks that we look at. If you're not and you just like the SPY and the Qs, then hey, that's awesome. You can join for those update videos where we talk about those opportunities. We talk about the things that are showing in front of us for the week, which is just a fantastic thing. But welcome to join if you guys want to. I appreciate all my Patreon members out there. And thank you guys so much for being here on today's live show. Really do appreciate it. And we'll see you over on Rumble later on today for the close, where we'll see, are we going to land in the daily expected move in that 68% zone? Or are we going to land somewhere else? And that would be potentially... are we going to land actually at the, and I'll give it to you guys for the end here so you can see it. Let's not do data, let's do dash. What was it? It was 545.49. Are we going to do something absolutely crazy? Because as of right now, you have a 68% chance to close back down into these areas by the end of the day. You have a 5% chance to close outside of this red line. But if that 5% thing did happen, ooh, it would look pretty damn squeezy. So I wanted to give you guys that point before I go. 545.49 to the upside is your second standard deviation for the day. So I'd be paying attention to it. And then Patreon members, you have the second standard deviation for the week on Patreon, just so you are aware. So there are still some good things you can get from Patreon, even if you are a seasoned trader. So thank you guys so much for being here today. I'll see you guys later on Rumble, and peace out.